Today we will be doing an RPA in order to get weather recommendations. So we're going to go over to our new project and hit process. We're going to go ahead and name it getting weather recommendations. Create. And this might take a while, so I'm going to take y'all out of the way. All right, and here we are. So we're in our project view. We're going to just run main right there. So we're going to go ahead and drop a sequence in. And then within our sequence, we're going to drop in, oh, apologies. This is, delete that. What we want to do is drop in a flowchart first. And then we open up our flowchart and now we drop a sequence in. Yep. And then we just connect the two together. And then we can go into our sequence here. And we want to put in an input dialog box. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is up here, put quotation marks and get weather city. Oh. And then within the input label, this is what it's going to ask. So we're going to say, please enter city you are traveling to. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now is we have to set our variable type. We'll set a variable for this input dialog. So we're going to come over here. We're going to, we see here our output results. We're going to, where it says kind of like in that use a variable little area, we're going to hit Control K. And so now we can set a variable. And so we'll set it as city and click enter. And so now we can see it has set, we have city in there as our output. And if we come over here to variables, it's created a city variable for us, and it's labeling it as a string because it's a word. It's using it. These are words that were, that are. It's a string because it's words. Next, what we want to do is, since we'll be using this variable again later in this flowchart, right here where we see scope, instead of sequence, we're going to go ahead and click flowchart. Essentially, what that means is that within this whole flowchart tab that we have, we're going to be able to use the city variable that we've created here. Right. All right, next what we're going to do is we're going to take a sequence and we're going to drop it down here. And within the sequence, we're going to drop in a use application / browser. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use a browser to look up weather stuff and to scrape that data from the browser. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and indicate here, and we want to just click Google browser. There we go. So now this use browser Chrome is going to open up just google.com. And then within our do, we're going to do a type into. So here we can see type into. We're going to drag that into here. So we're going to go do this, and then we want to make sure that we have this little search area selected because that's what is going to be typed into. Confirm. And we'll hit click auto repair here. Okay. So now we can see text area. And then what we want to type in is going to be the variable city that we had created before. So essentially what we're saying is that uh, we're going to have this dialog box here that they're going to type in the city that they're traveling to, and it's going to be called variable city. Then we're going to have the bot open up Chrome and type into the search bar this city, and it's going to pull that up. So now that we've indicated a variable, if we were to just leave it like this, all it would do is search the city itself. Remember, we're looking for the weather in the city. So we're going to do city and plus and quotation marks, and we're going to add a few spaces here. Actually, we'll add one space. And then weather in Fahrenheit. Okay. So there we go. So that's essentially what it's going to say is whatever the city we enter into, weather in Fahrenheit. So say we enter in Houston, it'll be Houston weather in Fahrenheit is what'll show, is what'll be typed into that search bar on Google. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and try and run this and see what happens. So we'll click run. Say Houston. Okay. And there we go. So as you saw, it exited out right away. But if we go back over here, we can see, look, Houston weather in Fahrenheit, and it looks like all our spaces look good too. And then right here, we're showing, 79 degrees in Fahrenheit in Houston. So it looks like so far everything is working in our bot right now. All right, now in order for us to want it to hit the enter key, we're gonna type in send hotkey. And here keyboard shortcuts should be it. Do just one moment, please. All right, sorry about that. I pulled the wrong one. We don't want the keyboard shortcut. We want the hotkey trigger. And so now we can see here that we have Alt, Control, Shift, and what we want to do is we just want to hit Enter. So we're gonna come through here and look for it. We'll just try typing it. There we go. So Enter. So now what that means is that after it types this in, it's going to hit the Enter key. And we only want it to do it one time. All right, so I figured it out. So what we actually want to do is instead of adding, it seems like in the newer versions, they got rid of the hotkey one. So what we want to do is after our string of text that we want it to type into it, we're going to add the plus button again. And then in quotation marks, we're going to do open bracket K, open parentheses, enter, close parentheses, close bracket. And that'll hit the enter key for us. So watch. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate now for us. If I run, we'll hit Houston. Click OK. It opens up Google for us, just weather in Fahrenheit, and then it hits enter for us right there. And then as you saw, it closed out. So now we can go over here and let me hide this real quick. Go. That's interesting. I don't know where it went. Let's try this again. So we'll have a blank there. Run. Houston. I see. It looks like it closed out the tab after it finished running. Interesting. Okay, so let's try and do this way. Let's have a Google tab open there. Houston. And there we go. So now it got it. Okay. So now we can see here that it typed in Houston weather in Fahrenheit and then it hit the enter key. And now we can see here the weather in Houston. All right. All right, so after we have it hit the enter key and it enters everything in, we're going to go ahead and pull a get text. I want to make sure it's in there. And then we're going to go ahead and indicate in Chrome. So this is just going to allow us to choose, what we want to pull from there. Okay. So moment. All right, so what we want to pull is this right here. So we can see down here that the weather is cloudy, so we'll click that. Okay. And we'll click confirm. Yeah, so we can see it has pulled the cloudy. And then we're going to go into within this we're going to open up our target area here. And then we're going to come over here to our selector. There we are. So now we can see the select editor and we can see it's validated. And we have our edit selector down here. All right. And so now what we can do here is just click this. And so since it stays green, we can kind of see everything here. We're not seeing anything about clear or sunny or no real words. So that's what we want. We're going to click validate and it stays green, so we're good on that. Down here in output, so what we're going to do, if I remember correctly, one moment. All right, so we're going to go ahead and create another variable. And we'll just do it over here. We're going to call this variable weather, and we're going to go ahead and leave it as a string. And again, we're going to make it for the flow chart because we'll be using it later as well. So we can go ahead and close that out now. And then over here, we're going to save it to the weather. So essentially what we're saying is that it's going to pull this text and it's going to save it as the weather, as a variable called weather. And that way, whenever we decide to pull that variable later, it'll pull this information here. All right, and now we want to get the temperature. So we're going to pull another get text down into here. We'll go back to our indicate in Chrome and we'll come over here and we're going to select on this there. And we'll hit confirm. And there we are. Again, we'll go back over to our selector here. Now we just want to make sure that it validates correctly, and it is. So we'll click OK. And now we're going to create another variable called temperature. Again, we're going to open it up to the whole flow chart. And I'm going to leave it as a string for now, just because we won't be needing to actually manipulate this number data like we would need to if we wanted it as an integer. So I'm just going to leave it as a string for now. And then we're going to come in here and do the temperature. And there we go. So now it'll save this 79 as what the temperature is. Okay. One thing we do want to do is right here where we see wait for page to load. In here, and we want to wait for the page to load completely before it starts pulling the information. That way, we don't leave anything out just in case, our bot is working faster than the browser is. So we'll just go ahead and add those in for both of those and say wait for the page to be complete, and then we should be good on those. Sorry about that. I forgot to resume recording. So what we're doing is we're going to pull our navigate browser down into here under this. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to have it create the action of close tab. That way, after we have, created this, we've opened the Google tab, we've searched for the city of the weather, or the weather of the city. We scraped all the information from it, and now we want it to go ahead and close the tab. That way, every time we keep running this, we're not opening up, multiple Google tabs over and over and over and stacking them up to where we get 10 to 20 Google tabs. So that's why we're going to have this close tab action in here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and drop a message box in here for now, just because I want to make sure that the bot is running correctly. So we're going to go ahead and just add a little message box to where it's going to say temperature in space plus city plus. Actually, let's move it. Let's delete that. And the space is that, and then we'll do another space. And then we'll hit plus again. And we'll say temperature. All right. And then we'll click OK there. And so now, whenever we do this, it should show, temperature in the city that we entered is, and then what the temperature is for that city. All right. So we'll go ahead and try running this. Let's do Dallas this time. There you go. Temperature in Dallas is 80. And so what you saw before was that it opened up a new Google tab. It typed in Dallas weather in Fahrenheit, and it hit enter, and it opened up our screen. And then it scraped the data for the weather and the temperature, and then it closed out that Google tab that we had like we wanted it to, and now it displayed in the message box what our temperature in Dallas is. It is 80, which we saw earlier whenever it opened it up. And so it looks like everything is running correctly. We'll click OK, and we'll come back here. All right, and then we're just going to try one more thing. So we'll go ahead and add another plus, and then we'll do environment. New line. All right. And that essentially that's what it's going to do is in that message box is that creates a new line for us. Then we're gonna do plus, I'm gonna do quotations, and we're gonna do weather is, and then space, another plus, and then we're gonna do our weather variable that we had created. All right, and we're gonna click OK. And now we're gonna try running this again. We're gonna use Dallas again as our city. So you can see the temperature is 80 and our weather is partly cloudy. We've closed off the tab, and there we go. So now we can see that temperature in Dallas is 80, weather is partly cloudy. So now we can see that it pulled the information correctly, it closed everything out, and it's displaying everything correctly. So it looks like everything is working in our bot right now. All right, so after that, we want to come back out to our main flow chart here. And what we actually want to do is create another flow chart. So we're going to add another flow chart into there. Oh, oopsie. So it looks like we put it in the wrong place there. So go ahead and delete that. Go back out to our flow chart. And then we're going to add flow chart over here. And we're actually going to, and the reason why we're doing another one here is because this flow chart right here, we want to actually make the decisions for us based on the temperature and the weather that we had pulled in our earlier sequence here. All right, so now we're in our new flow chart, and we're going to go ahead and drag over in a flow decision. This is essentially just a true false kind of a true false decision making. And what I'm going to do is we'll do what to where as our kind of question. And then we want to go ahead and come over here to our assign. We're going to make an assign right here. We're going to drop it in here. Oh, that's very big. Is there a way to make this smaller? Nope. So I guess we'll just drag it over here. And we'll make sure that we connect these two together. So one. All right. So what we're going to do is for our what to wear for our true side, we're going to say if temperature is less than, it's 60 degree, it's Texas, let's say. If it's below, let's say if it's below 55, what we're going to do is we're going to have it say that wear a jacket. All right. Do another one. And we're going to have to drag this over a bit in order to make it look a little nicer. So over. And then again, temperature. This time we're going to do greater than 55. Actually, let's do, let's do greater than 55. Where, oh, oopsies. Where something light. So there we are. What we're actually going to do over here is we're going to say if it is less than or equal to 55, we're going to say wear a jacket. if it's going to be greater than 55, we'll say where something light. And no, you know what? Let's actually change that now. Let's change that to 65. It's Texas. We don't get very cold here that often. All right. One moment. Sorry about that. I was misleading you earlier. I got that wrong. What we want to do here is actually do if it's colder, or if it's less than or equal to 65 here, and click OK here. And that will tell us whether or not if it's true or false. And so what we want to call this here, we want to save this to, we're going to call this grab jacket. It's not liking that. I know what's going on. We will have to deal with that in a bit. And then this one is call this light clothes. So now what we got to do is we're going to have to go ahead and add in two new variables for our assigns right here. So we're going to create a variable called grab jacket. We're going to leave it as a string, and we want to leave it in the flowchart. And then we're going to create another one called light close. And same thing again. Leave it as a string and access to the whole flowchart. Then close that down. And then we should see here. Okay, one moment. Okay, figured out I got my boxes mixed up. So what I want to type in here is, wear something light in my quotations, and I'm going to save it as our variable that we created, the jacket suggestion. So you can see here that now that we have this, so now it's going to say that so if the temperature is less than or equal to 65, it'll say, wear jacket. If it says if it's above 65, it'll say wear something light. And I'm actually going to do this one step. I'm going to wear a type of jacket. Okay, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull another flow decision down here and connect it to there. And then I'm going to call this one what type of jacket. And my condition is going to be if it is, we did 65 first, so if temperature is less than equal to, say, 40, now we're going to do another assign. here. And now we're going to have to do some cleanup here. Okay. Make sure we connect these. So if it's true, click it there. We'll say wear a heavy jacket. And we'll call this one type of jacket, or we'll call it jacket type. Leave it as a string. And then if we'll one more sign down here. And this one will be wear a light jacket. And then this one will be jacket type. And there we go. So now what we have going on here is that in our original one, it says, you know, if our temperature is less than or equal to 65, we say grab a jacket, wear a type of jacket, and then within that, we're going to say now, if the temperature is less than or below 40, less than or equal to 40, we're going to say wear a heavy jacket. If it is greater than 40, but less than 65, we're going to say wear a light jacket. And then if the temperature is above 65, we'll say wear something light. Okay. All right, now we're going to pull a message box down into here. Now we're going to make sure that these two are connected. Yeah, we have to click into that. All right, and then we'll click there in one moment. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit here, temperature in space plus city. Forget about that. Get rid of that. Is temperature there. And plus environment. New line. Plus fish marks. The weather is space. And then add our weather. And then we'll do again environment new line. And this time we want to do this jacket. And there we go. All right, so one moment. So put okay there to save that. What we want to do is we need to go back into our variables and yep, so see within our variables here, we don't see our, so we want to go back into here And in this one, we want to make sure we're going to click this flowchart. That way, because we had two flowcharts in there, and I probably should have renamed one of the flowcharts. That way it would show up better there and make it a little bit more clear, but we want to make sure that we're using the big flowchart for our variables and not the small flowchart. So we had to go back in there and do that. But now that we've done that, we should be able to go back out here and go into our message box. And then in here, we should be able to do plus. And now we have our jacket suggestion for our we have our jacket suggestion variable that we had created earlier. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and hit OK here. And then we'll back out. And then now let's try and run the whole thing and see how we do. So let's hit run. Oh, okay. Let's try and figure out. Interesting. All right, one moment. Let me go figure. All right, so I figured out where our error was. I went ahead and fixed it. So we had changed my temperature to generic variable, and within the flow decision, I had my formula wrong. So now it should do temperature to integer. And in order to test this real quick, what we're going to do is I have a message box set here, and it should just display our jacket suggestion, which goes off of the decision flow tree. So we're going to go ahead and run this. And we'll say Dallas. So now it's pulling and scraping all the data. Okay. Okay. And then it showed our message box where something went. Yep. Okay, so that is working. So actually what I need to do in here, I went ahead and also added in a third text that we're pulling. We're pulling the precipitation here. The percentage of precipitation. So let me go ahead and delete that. So we don't need that box there anymore now that we know that it works. Okay, so now we're going to go back into our flow chart and we're going to create another flow decision. As y'all can kind of see, it's a little bit messy. And so let me try and see if I can clean this up a little bit. I'll be right back. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create another separate flow chart and put it in the middle here. And from here, I'm going to make another decision flow for our precipitation. So there. Two. Sure. It is less than or nope. Whoopsies. Less than or equal to 50%. Okay. Do another sign here. And then if this is true, we are going to create another variable called umbrella suggestion. And we want to make sure it can go to the big flow chart. And so umbrella suggestion, and it's going to say if it is less than 50%, we will say no need to bring an umbrella. Actually, let's make it this. Let's, instead of equal to, let's just make it less than. So it's less than 50%. There we go. And then we'll make another assign over here. And drag that over a bit. And if it's false, so if it's greater than 50%, we'll say we suggest you bring an umbrella. All right. That should work for that. So now let's do umbrella suggestion. Actually, what we'll do is we're gonna add a space for that, and then there. That way there's a space between the two, and it makes it a little bit easier to read. Okay, so now we're gonna check to see if that works. So we're gonna go ahead and hit run. And we'll do Houston. Actually, let's do Dallas. Oh, okay. So it looks like interesting. Give me a moment and I will figure out what's going on. All right, I found a problem. In this flow decision that I created, I thought like our last one, I had to change it to an integer. I did not. For this one, all I had to do was just keep it as the variable itself, since we have it as a generic value, and then just say it was less than 50%. And with that, that will now allow it to work. So now that we know that this flow chart, the second flow chart works, drop that there. So now we're going to go into our message here. And we're going to create our final message that allows us to display everything. So we'll say first the weather in space plus city, or let's say temperature first. Space is space. Then we're going to call it temperature. And then we have plus do environment dot new line plus the weather is plus weather, and then plus environment dot new line plus, now we're going to do our suggestions that we had. So we'll do jacket suggestion first, and then a new line again. And finally, we will do our umbrella suggestion right there. Okay, so what we should see is on our top line, we should see the temperature in blank city is what the temperature is. And then we'll go to our next line and say the weather is blank. And then we'll have a new line of whether or not we should wear a jacket or wear light clothes. And then under that, we'll have whether or not you should bring an umbrella. So we'll click OK here. And we'll go back to the flow chart here. We'll hide that as well to give us a little bit more view. And then we'll go ahead and click run. And we'll say Dallas. Here we can see the temperature in Dallas is 77. The weather is partly cloudy. We suggest wear something light and no need to bring an umbrella. And so I'm actually going to go ahead and add in here in our message box in here plus we suggest that you space and then there, and that should allow us click OK there. All right, so that should do it for that. So now we know that it works for Dallas. Let's try a different city now. So let's go run. Let's try Portland. All right, so we saw the temperature in Portland is 67, which was right. The weather is clear. And then we suggest that you wear something light. No need to bring an umbrella. And I just saw as I was reading that that I misspelled something and I wrote something. So let me go ahead and go into here. And we'll actually change these. Oh. And we'll actually go ahead and change these to lowercase as well, just to make it so that our formatting looks nice. All right, there we go. Do it just one more time, just with all of our corrections now, just so we can see how the final product will look. Let's do Boston. All right, there we go. So the temperature in Boston is 65. We saw that. The weather is clear. We saw that as well. And we suggest that you wear a light jacket. That's because it was 65 degrees, which matches up with our decision. And then there's no need to bring an umbrella because there was a 1% chance of precipitation. So it looks like everything is working in our weather suggestion RPA. And with that, that will be the end of how to create and design a weather scraping RPA from the internet. Thank you very much.